and welcome back to the NWA 1984 Project. I'm your host, Alex G, and with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm as always.
All right, fantastic, man. I dig that. This episode will be another large-scale event, this time live from Kansas City. Now, Kansas City being one of the preeminent NWA territories back then, although at this point in 1984, it's very much on a decline. That's for sure. Not for nothing, trying to look up any kind of footage from the Kansas City territory, there's not necessarily a whole lot available out there to watch. From what I understand, it was probably one of the poorest paying territories of all time, from what I understand. But again, it was, it's like the sister promotion of the St. Louis promotion, which is the cradle of the NWA and kind of, where the power structure back in the day where the NWA was, essentially located from. But Kansas City, obviously had its big stars would be Harley Race and the whole Central States kind of deal there. Main event of this show will be Ox Baker taking on NWA World Heavyweight Champion Bruiser Brody. In addition, we're going to have Randy Savage taking on Ricky Steamboat. The Dream Machine taking on Pistol Pez Watley. We have King Kong Bundy taking on Stan Hansen. Bad News Allen taking on Butch Reed, and Dutch Mantel taking on the Honky Tonk Man. So should be a fantastic card all around. But first, we didn't get an opportunity to speak about it prior to this, but recently we had the untimely passing of Mean Gene Okerlund, and we say it all the time when some of the most important people of our childhood start passing away, and it's just a reminder that we are getting older, and yes. and it's sad to say, but for me, Mean Gene Okerlund is one of the voices of my childhood.
No mistake about it, Hulk Hogan. Blatant interference on the part of Dr. D.
You know something, every time I see it, every time the film rolls by my face, it turns me off. I mean, it makes me sick. But you know something that gets me off more than anything, Mean Gene? Check out the goosebumps every time I think about the AWA washed their hands of the whole situation. They put the Hulkster in the ring alone with these two. And you know something? That's the way it's always been. It's always been that way. I've always stood alone. I've always been by myself. And you know something? Every time I told the story about my life, the people put their hands over their ears. And then I came to Canada. I came to the city, and I testified, and I told you how it was. And you stuck with me. Now, it's the Hulkster in the ring against these two. It's going to get done. But the thing is, I've got both of them tricked. The redneck, Dr. D, and Mr. Maso Saito, Ichiban Samurai. It's not going to be the Hulkster by himself. I've got the whole country of Canada. I've got all the people behind me. And you know something? Every time I go after you, every time I clamp the pythons around you, it's going to be like a superhuman. It's not just going to be the Hulkster by himself. There's going to be thousands of people yelling, squeeze, crank down on the redneck, crank down on Saito. And you know something? I don't think I'm ever going to turn loose. It's the Hulkster and his people. We've got to get the job done, and that's the way it's going to happen right here.
All right, the Hulkster all by himself beating Saito and Schultz. Of course, the Hulkster saying he does, in fact, have the fans behind him, and indeed he does.
And I got an opportunity to meet him like 2 years ago, and he was Mean Gene. He was irreverent, he was funny, he was full of class, and he was fantastic. And I love Mean Gene, and it's sad to see him go. So.
Hello again, everybody. Gene Okerlund here, TV20's All-Star Wrestling on the air. You have just seen 6 foot 9 inch tall Big John Studd, a man that goes 345 pounds. Big man indeed. But come on in if you would, please. I've got one better for you. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest professional athlete in the entire world, my guest at this time, his name, Andre the Giant from Grenoble, France. Just exactly how tall are you, Andre? How much do you weigh?
7'4.5", and I weigh 497 pounds.
You played a role of Bigfoot in a series some time back. What was the name of that series?
The $6 Million Man. I was the first guy who played Bigfoot in there. Yeah.
Very good. Andre the Giant, you've done it all. They tell me that as a youngster over in France, you played soccer. Is that true?
I played soccer for 4 years. Then after the soccer, I played rugby for 2 years. I was in boxing for almost 2 years, and now I'm in wrestling for almost 15 years.
And you have done well. You have traveled all throughout the world. Am I correct?
All over the world, and even I used to wrestling even there in San Francisco. I don't wrestle in San Francisco for a long time, and I find that now you got a big guy, Big John Studd in there, and I'd be very happy to come back in San Francisco wrestling against, not just against John Studd, but against anyone you want. Because là, in San Francisco, I got lots of friends. Et je voudrais dire une chose, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de Français aussi à San Francisco. Ça fait bien longtemps que je ne les ai pas vus. Et si vraiment j'ai la chance de revenir lutter à San Francisco, j'aimerais bien venir vous voir et faire le party comme on avait avant.
Andre, would you be kind enough to hold your hand up for the fans here in the Bay Area? Can our cameraman get a good tight shot of that? Can you believe the difference in the size of hands? How big a shoe do you wear?
22.
A size 22. That makes my size 9. Look, can our cameraman come on down here? That makes my size 9 shoe look a little ridiculous. Andre, I'm certain that professional football teams or basketball teams at one time or another had to contact you with the tremendous athletic ability you have along with your height and so forth. You've got to be a prime target for professional sports.
A few years ago, the Washington Redskins contacted me, but that time my wrestling schedule was so busy and I was making so much money with wrestling, the football team not enough money to pay me. So
I'll tell you what. Very good. Andre the Giant, the gentle giant, until you get in the ring, and then it's a completely different story.
Difference.
Very good. Fans, you've seen him. The world's biggest professional athlete, Andre the Giant at 7'4", 485 pounds, and more action in just a moment.
So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Mean Gene Okerlund?
Oh, Mean Gene was one of the more underrated fellows because what he did, and it was really such a powerful thing, was he helped push the storylines and the characters of the wrestlers, and that was so important to the show.
Tony, with the announcement earlier on from President Ric Flair of World Championship Wrestling, I've set up camp back in the locker room area with this man, Bret the Hitman Hart, and as you heard earlier on, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, as president of WCW, announcing a mandatory United States title defense for Bret the Hitman Hart. That's coming up on February the 21st at Super Brawl. Tonight, however, in a non-title bout, you've got Booker T. You've got a full plate here, I must say.
You know, I don't know what Ric Flair's problem is, you know. You know, I've always been a jam-up guy. I've always been a guy that's never ducked anything, anybody, anytime, anywhere. Now, Ric Flair, you know, this is a case of a guy that's carrying around a grudge. He's had a grudge against me since I've come here, and, you know, that's fine. He wants to throw me in a ring tonight with Booker T. Who is Booker T? Who is this guy to even have a match with me, let alone a non-title match, because he's a loser. He's not going to get a title shot. You can forget about that.
Well, he is not a loser. You know
that.
He's
a loser. Now, Booker T, I want to ask you a question. Have you got the guts to step in the ring with the excellence of execution tonight? Do you know that your life is on the line? Your career is on the line. All the little kids at home, they're going to watch me tear you up and break you in little pieces. Is that what you want? I'm sure that's what Ric Flair wants.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Booker T. This man has held numerous titles in World Championship Wrestling, and there's a guy that we would be deserving of a chance at your United States title.
Let me tell you about who deserves a shot at the United States heavyweight.
Let's hear it.
I'm the champion. I ought to know. You know, I'm a sizing up guy since I came to WCW. And I think the one guy that stands out the most, the guy that I think has earned a title shot, El Dandy, I think you're a heck of a wrestler. You're a great technician in the ring, and you're a jam-up guy. Whoa. I don't see any reason.
Wait a minute. El Dandy has been wrestling in the cruiserweight division here. Please.
He's a great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler, but my goodness sakes, there's 50 pounds
difference.
Who
are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Well, let's talk about some serious contenders.
How about Hypnosis? Let's get thrown.
Psychosis?
Whatever. He's a great wrestler. You know, you can say what you want. You can try to tear these guys down and take them down. But
Psychosis has also
he's
been
a high flyer of the highest magnitude.
But he's still a cruiserweight. Let's get
How about Dean Malenko? I was going to give him a title shot. He was the big man, wanted to injure me. Hey, come injure me now, you little punk. He's sitting at home with some kind of hokey injury. This is a real injury, Dean Malenko. This is like groin pull the likes you've never seen in your whole life.
Well, he right now is nursing a very bad sprained ankle.
Yeah.
And as far as that groin pull, you know, people that compete in football and basketball, a lot of champions have to play hurt.
Oh, yeah. So what are you saying? I won't play hurt? I'll play hurt. I'm going to play hurt tonight. And I'm going to take this Booker T. and show exactly what I've said a minute ago. He doesn't deserve a title shot. And Ric Flair, you go ahead and bring up your grudge. You got some kind of a grudge on me. You can try to force me into situations. You're going to put me in a title match with whomever you want, whenever you want. That's fine, Ric Flair. That's fine, because you know why you're jealous of me? It's because I beat you. I beat you the day I came in, and I beat you every time I ever stepped in the ring with you, and you just got a grudge against me. That's all.
Make no mistake about it, on February the 21st
Am I right?
in Oakland,
Yeah, I'm right.
you're going to be facing somebody, and that U.S. title will be on the line, Mr. Hart.
Whatever.
Thank you very much. Tony, a man that's not too happy, at least, about defending the United States title, Bret the Hitman Hart. Back to you, my friend.
In a way, it's really missed right now because, you know, the last, let's say, five, outside of
Since he left,
most of those backstage commentators are just cower and ask stupid questions.
You've been pretty good at running your mouth soft so far, but tonight you're going to have to back it up with action.
Yo, Gene, let me speak on this, all you cranberries and strawberries. You like my shirt, Gene? You want to touch it? That's enough.
Hey, real good impression there, you prick. What about the rest of you pissants? Anybody else want to do impressions?
Hey, man, why don't you shut up? What do you call him?
Hey, blow it out your ass, O'Hare. I got guys that can take out your kneecaps. Hey, watch that.
Hey, I got suspended for leading the beatdown of a bitter, pitiful old man. We need you tonight. Listen here, cameraman, I want you to pull it in real tight. You're looking at the group of the most genetically jacked superstars in WCW. We've worked long, we've worked hard busting our ass. Now we're gonna start kicking yours. Filthy animals, you're going up against the future. What you got? 2 midgets, a bald guy, a cheese whiz sucking trailer trash hoochie? Hoochie. I'm a gambling man by nature, and odds aren't looking good.
And there's no person, like, they're interchangeable, most of them. You couldn't care less who it is. And I really believe that when you have them become part of, not so much, they're not part of the match, but they're a separate entity. You know, they give you the material to play off of. Fan, they're kind of you. You know, me and Gene going, that's outrageous. Well, what's what we're thinking? That's ridiculous. You beat him, but you hit him with a steel chair. Well, he'd call him on it. And nowadays they would just say, well, what'd you do out there? Well, let me tell you, I did this. Okay, great. Well, thanks. We'll see you later. And they all make them like super sissies. And I'm not saying they have to be tough guys, but having them all play off as cowardly lions just isn't really a way to get them over. Because they all.
Mean Gene wasn't going to fight you, but he'll fucking sue the shit out of you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
I have been with you for so many years. For you to join up with the likes of these two men absolutely makes me sick to my stomach. And I think that these people here and a lot of other people around the world have had just about enough of this man, and you want to put yourself in this group? You've got to be kidding me.
Well, the first thing you gotta realize, brother, is this right here is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother. These two men right here came from a great big organization up north, and everybody was wondering who the third man was. Well, who knows more about that organization than me, brother?
I've been there, I've done that. You have made the wrong decision, in my opinion.
Well, let me tell you something. I made that organization a monster. I made people rich up there. I made the people that ran that organization rich up there, brother. And when it all came to pass, the name Hulk Hogan, the man Hulk Hogan, got bigger than the whole organization, brother. And then billionaire Ted, amigo, he wanted to talk turkey with Hulk Hogan. Well, billionaire Ted promised me movies, brother. Billionaire Ted promised me millions of dollars. and Billionaire Ted promised me world caliber matches. And as far as Billionaire Ted goes, Eric Bischoff and the whole WCW goes, I'm bored, brother. That's why these two guys here, the so-called outsiders, these are the men I want as my friends. They're the new blood of professional wrestling, brother. And not only are we gonna take over the whole wrestling business with Hulk Hogan and the new blood, the monsters with me, we will destroy everything in our path, Mean Gene.
Look at all of this crap in this ring. This is what's in the future for you if you want to hang around the likes of this man Hall and this man Nash.
As far as I'm concerned, all of this crap in the ring represents these fans out here. For 2 years, brother, for 2 years, I held my head high. I did everything for the charities. I did everything for the kids. And the reception I got when I came out here, you fans can stick it, brother. Because if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, you people wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff would be still selling meat from a truck in Minneapolis. And if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, all these Johnny-come-latelys that you see out here, wrestling wouldn't be here. I was selling out the world, brother, while they were bumming gas to put in their car to get to high school. So the way it is now, brother, with Hulk Hogan and the New World Organization of Wrestling, brother, me and the new blood by my side, what you gonna do when the New World Organization runs wild on you? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Don't touch me, I'll get a fleet of lawyers.
Right. I have a fleet of lawyers. Like, I'm not gonna take shit from you. Like, kiss my ass. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
And to me, when you look back at the career, we're not gonna do a career retrospective because there's podcasts and what have you that's done a much better job of going through the career of Gene Okerlund that we could ever do. I could never hope to do. But just looking at his impact on the industry overall, and I think you take it from the AWA, and losing Hogan hurt them, but it wasn't what killed them. I think what killed them was losing Gene. Losing Gene and losing Bobby was the death knell for them.
Dave the Redneck Schultz, as the fans call you, you see something like this happen, it's got to be upsetting to you.
It don't upset me at all, baby. Let me tell you, I think it's great. You know what I mean? If you're going to go on the hunt, you got to be able to run with the big boys. If he can't run with the big boys, he should get out. He shouldn't come out here. Last time I was in San Francisco, I went downtown looking for a woman. You know what I mean? I wanted a woman. I couldn't find a woman. I found a lot of men that look like women. Now you, Hulk Hogan, you belong in San Francisco. What's wrong with you, Gene? I'm telling you like it is, baby. You belong in San Francisco. That's your kind of place. That's your kind of people, because you've never had a woman, baby. And now I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you right now.
And this is where wrestling is different. It's like those guys were the stars of the TV show. Now, obviously, you have your stars in terms of wrestling. You have your Hulk Hogan's, your Randy Savage, right? And in terms of the WWF and the AWA and NWA, WCW, you had your wrestling stars. Those guys would draw the house shows and the pay-per-view buy rates. But in terms of television, you look at the WWF, your stars on TV were Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, and Gene Okerlund. And you could throw the Fink in there as well. You know why? Because you saw them every single week.
Right.
And those guys were stars of their television show.
All right, fans, my guest at this time is the very controversial host of Piper's Pit. He is from Glasgow, Scotland. His name, Howard, just a second. Could you hand me that chair? Roddy Piper, I kind of appreciate the way that
that you do business on Piper's Pit.
Well,
and I thought...
well, let me grab a chair of my own here.
Well, sure. Well, sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Hey, don't kill a good thing here, Howard.
Well,
Yeah.
I just thought I'd come around, say hi, and see if you had anything on your mind for a change. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I do. But you know what I'm going to do?
Hi.
I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm not going to insult you.
Who's this? Take your dog. Giraffe. You're not going to insult me. Okay, then.
You know,
that nice.
Roddy,
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
like to have you tell me about Glasgow. I hear so many good things about Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay, I'll tell you about Glasgow. They have filthy rivers. They have nasty, nasty countryside. They have horrible, horrible people. That's why I left. Now tell me about Poland.
Well, what would you like to know about Poland?
Why did you leave?
Well, let's forget that. I'm asking you. This is not Piper's Pit.
No,
I'm the host of this. You know, one thing though that I would like to discuss with you is maybe a sore subject. It's a gentleman by the name of...
I know Hot Rod's been tired lately. Go ahead, though. I don't mind.
Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Wonderful,
yeah.
Paul Orndorff.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful.
All of a sudden, now I get a rise out of you. After we talked about your house, now I get a rise out of you.
It's hard to get a rise from me. Mr. Wonderful.
I've heard.
Mr. Wonderful, you heard that he's wonderful. You've been talking to the apes and the giraffes and chimpanzees again, haven't you? Mr. Wonderful, I think to myself, sometimes late at night I'll lay back in my bed, I'll close my eyes. He won't even cross my mind. Not a damn thing about him. The other day, though, I was in a store, people were talking, never mentioned his name.
Are you starting to lose your hair?
Am I what?
Well, I see it's got a little receding hairline there.
You'd be an expert at it, wouldn't you? I mean, you would know if someone was starting to lose their hair, wouldn't you? Tell me something. Did you start to lose your hair on the top of your head all over?
Yes, well, not actually all over.
Not actually all over? No.
Just on the top of my head.
Just on the top of your head. That just comes with time. Now, Orndorff, he's got lots of hair. If you're looking at him from the north end going south, he's got plenty of hair.
Right now, if you look at the current crop of announcers, you know, Corey Graves is all right. You know, he still has some work to do. Michael Cole is Michael Cole. And you don't have Mauro Ranallo there enough, and your announcers are kind of just like interchangeable. No one really cares. Your backstage interviewers, I don't even know what their names are, right. And I couldn't even tell you right now who the current ring announcer. Actually, there hasn't been a ring announcer of note probably since Lillian Garcia.
All right, fans, World Wrestling Federation action this week. My guest, the veteran septuagenarian. Just excuse me a second, Iron Sheik Nikolai Volkov. I'd like to spend a couple of moments speaking with the manager, Fred Blassie, the veteran septuagenarian entrepreneur and wrestling manager extraordinaire of the World Tag Team Champions. I read last week in the National Enquirer that you have been romantically linked to the fabulous Moolah. What about it, Freddie?
You know, I hate a hard loser, Gene. And I want to tell your wife out there, whenever he calls and he's not, you know, he calls at home, says, I'll be late, he's with Moolah. In IRS, if he says he's expense account, he's with Moolah.
Listen, I stay at a Holiday Inn here and there, but don't be.
No, well, you know, I'm a hard loser.
Yep, I thank you very much, Fred. That's enough. Yes. Iron Sheik Nikolai Volkov, title defenses. There are a number of teams hot on your heels and after these title belts, Nikolai.
That's right. Since WrestleMania, we've won this belt from the Michael Tonda, Barry Windham. After we beat him fair and square, now we have all kind of competition. People want to get this belt, but to get this belt, you don't just need big mouth. You need to come and ring and wrestle. And me and Sheik, we are ready. So Michael Tonda, you don't deserve the 2 match because we beat you fair and square. And everybody else, all you Americans, we on the belts, just look at it because it's hard to go get it.
I'm very curious. Khosrow Vasari, Sheikh Alahani, the Iron Sheik, has anything changed in your personal life, in your professional life, since March the 31st and WrestleMania? Again, you're holding a title belt, a championship belt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gene Oakland. You're an intelligent American man. You know I come from oldest country in the world.
Persia.
That's Persia. That's not the first belt I get.
No, I know that.
Okay, I expect you be intelligent, Dad. You explain to that American people, I'm not that excited about this belt. I get a gold medal and belt since 18 years old to right now. But one thing, Mr. Gene Oakland, bother me.
What bothers you?
That two punk, Barry Windham and Mac Rotundo. Mr. Mac Rotundo, I know you've been University of Syracuse, New York. And I heard about wrestling team, how tough and rough was that the state. You made it. You come champion. Same as another punk. His partner, Barry Windham, Sweetwater, Texas. I just want to know who come from Sweetwater, Texas, world class, Olympic class, AU class, no, world heavyweight champion class. Mr. Mac Rotundo, Barry Windham, you guys did it good, only for your country.
Hey,
but now...
Yes, what about this Born in the USA, that song? Tremendous patriotism on their part.
Just like Jesse the Body said, they are jealousy. Jealousy never get you nowhere. I know all American behind you, but that doesn't gonna help you. Look at our body. Cameraman, zoom it.
Playing Roone Arledge, you gotta be here. Thank you. Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik. Brett Lassie, thank you very much.
Yeah. So I don't know who any of these people are. They're interchangeable. They all kind of look alike. No one looks any different. And they don't have any unique personalities. Like, all these guys were characters. Gene Oakland was a character. He was kind of a throwback. Even back then, he was a throwback to like a different era.
All right, fans, coming up a week from tonight here at Boston at the Garden. Saturday night, February 2, World Wrestling Federation action. That is simply unbelievable. In a return bout, Texas Tornado Tag Team match. Big John Studd, Ken Patera to meet Junkyard Dog and his partner Andre the Giant. By the way, Bobby the Brain Heenan will be there. The ladies champion Wendy Richter to be challenged by Judy Martin. In addition, Barry Windham from Sweetwater, Texas, just a little west of Abilene. Get ready, Windham to go against Russian Nikolai Volkov. Mike Rotundo, all that great card to meet the Iron Sheik. And Polish Power Ivan Putski will have to deal with the likes of my guest at this time, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orner. If you look a little down in the mouth this week, any reason for that, Paul?
Yeah, there's a reason for it. You know that it's gotten to the point where you know every time that I look at the cameras that another woman leaves her husband for Mr. Wonderful.
I've heard.
Well, you know something? I'm losing sleep about that. And I can't help
that. You don't want to do it.
Listen,
you can't help the way you look.
Exactly. I know I'm not Mr. Wonderful. You know I'm Mr. Wonderful.
Not.
So who are we to all those millions of people out there know that I'm Mr. Wonderful?
What are our opinions? Millions out there that say you are Mr. Wonderful. You're right.
Exactly right. And you know something, Gene, just to bring up some things that's happened to me lately. I was flying from L.A. to New York. I reserved my own first-class section.
The whole section?
Exactly. I have my own busboys. I have my own waitresses waiting on me. I want to be left alone. And Lord and behold, who comes up and bothers me? Who else? The captain of the airplane. Wanting to know, Mr. Wonderful, is it okay to take off now?
Oh, come on.
Hey.
The captain's trying to get your permission?
That's right. What do you do on that? Captain, hey, you call the control tower. They tell you when to take off.
Get the cards from them.
Exactly. Don't
Why
come
bother
to me with
you?
that. You know, and this stuff happens on and on and on. I can't even go to an airport. I can't even leave my motel because all the limousines are out there, traffic jam, fighting over to see who's going to take Mr. Wonderful to wherever he's going.
You've got no private life at all.
None.
It's got to be a nightmare for you.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Sure.
And even in the Boston Gardens, look at all the legends that's passed through there. Bobby Orr, Larry Bird. Those are really legends.
Oh,
but the legends above legends is Mr. Wonderful, right here. Right here he stands.
You're putting yourself in the same category with...
I'm putting myself above him.
With the Koozies?
That's it.
With the Collins?
And you know why? You know why. I'm going to show you the body that women love and the men love to fear. It's just that simple. Take a look at that. How's that look, huh? You don't think there's
You're
a
asking
man
me?
out there? Look at it. I know. Hey, it don't take much for you to please you. But you know something, Ivan Putski, turtle head? You know what a turtle does? You know, when you see a turtle with that big old long head, and then he does something and it goes in? Well, that's exactly what Putski's going to do. Exactly. It's going to go inside that shell, and you'll disappear. You'll never see it again.
A week from tonight,
Putski.
We'll see you there.
It was the 80s, but he was kind of portraying someone that was straight out of the 50s, you know what I mean? And he was always dressed to the nines, and he was always well-spoken, and he was a man's man, and he didn't take no crap, and he would call people out on shit, and you know, he was an amazing, amazing character, and he did his job, you know, fantastic. Like I said before, when the AWA lost him, they lost the soul of the AWA. When the WWF lost him, the WCW, their product was hurt tremendously. And you notice when they lost Gene, you know, WCW was on the rise, right?
Yeah.
Eventually they came back to earth, but he was such a big part of that show, and for so many years, and he was super important. And I think he was well loved and well respected by everyone. I have never heard anyone say anything negative about Gene Okerlund, ever.
Right.
Period.
To the Target Center and to Monday Nitro, Chris. I would have to gather from the response from this capacity crowd here tonight.
It's a huge response.
I don't know if you're the most popular man in town tonight.
First of all, Gene Mean, I am absolutely livid, and I'm going to tell you why, because I know everybody wants to know why. I have beaten Greenberg 3 times. I have broken the streak 3 times. I have put him in his place 3 times, and I have received absolutely no acknowledgement from the WCW Championship Committee.
You haven't beaten Goldberg.
I'll tell you what, I know for a fact that Greenberg, you are in the building tonight.
Oh, he's at a UNICEF function.
No, my personal security guard saw him. I know you're in the building tonight, Greenberg. And if you think you're so bad, I want you to come out one more time so I can teach you respect one more time and give all the Jerichoholics what they want. I will knock the hair right off your head, Turkey.
All right, Goldberg, I hate to inform you of this, but Goldberg is at a UNICEF function.
Second of all, who is Greenberg fighting at Halloween Havoc?
He's going to be going against Diamond Dallas Page.
All right, Page, you're making a mistake, because I am the World Unified Television Champion. I'm the champion that you should be challenging. And I'll tell you something else. You want to be known as the greatest worker in the business, through all the people, to all the boys in the back, to all the sheet writers. Ain't gonna happen. You want to be known. You say you've paid your dues. You haven't paid due one. You've never accomplished what I've accomplished. Nobody cares about you, Paige. Nobody cares about you, Page.
Oh, hold the phone.
Nobody cares about you, Page.
Yo, Jerkico. That's one of your mannerisms. Bottom line is, son, you got a real... Get that fat old man out of my face. Back up, Jack. Back up. Don't come near me again, man. You got a real selective memory. You ain't ever beat Goldberg. Not that. That ain't Goldberg. Bottom line is, you ain't ever beat me. You want to come out here running your mouth? You want some of DDP? Someone should have shut your mouth a long time ago, son. And I think we ought to do it right here in Minneapolis tonight.
Tonight. You agreed to it. No. I think we've got action. Jericho and Page later tonight here on Nitro. Get yourself some tea. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Yeah, he was just an amazing talent that is truly missing. And his once he left wrestling full time, he's never been replaced.
Right.
You're able to replace Jesse Ventura with Bobby Heenan. Eventually, you replace Vince and Gorilla with Jim Ross, and then eventually you replaced Bobby Heenan with Jerry Lawler. But since JR and Jerry Lawler, there hasn't been a commentating team that's necessarily been worth a damn. Michael Cole and Taz were good for a while. JBL was the shits.
JBL was awful. God.
Booker T is awful. But, Corey Graves, you know, if you put Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves together maybe on a SmackDown, I think they can do some good stuff. And Michael Cole is just bland ass Michael Cole. Like, he's good enough to get the job done. And at this point, he's been with the company for so long that he's kind of an institution there now. But right. I think if he vanished one day, I don't think anyone's necessarily going to miss him off of television.
Michael Cole, I think
he's a generic Vince. Generic Vince.
Yeah, he's just a puppet.
Yeah.
And it shows in the way he just murders everyone else's lines to get out the generic, like, oh, that's a great maneuver, wow! Dude, like, he stepped all over her lines. Like, the number of times he stepped on Renee Young. When she'd be giving a good point, establishing something, and he just cut her off. It's like, dude, show some manners.
That's because Vince is screaming in his ear all the time.
Again, Vince is part of the biggest problem. And like, you know, people are like, oh, Vince, but yeah. Look, we know what's going on. It's obvious. And now this whole, well, we're going to go back to basics and make you the boss. No, you're trying to put more Vince out there. But, you know, that promo with Daniel Bryan was really well done in that he called out the fact you people, you know, cheer him, but what are you cheering for? Like, he just shows up, but you put money in his pocket because you're stupid cheap. And that's part of the problem is, you know, he was so great as the bad guy.
I think it's just another symptom of the collateral damage of the Monday Night War. So the WWE currently is at a position right now where it doesn't make any more stars because WWE, the logo is the star of the show, right?
Yeah.
The McMahons are the stars of the show. The McMahons are not leaving anytime soon. I think they were so paranoid, like when Hogan left and when Kevin Nash left and Scott Hall left and they lost Shawn and they lost Bret and they built up Stone Cold, but eventually he had left. Rock went to Hollywood. Cena's starting to slow down now, and everyone's like, we're not making any more stars because when they become too big for us, we lose them.
The problem they have is that they're afraid to lose them. You do want to lose them. Like I used to tell people I've worked with before, and I'd tell them, like, I'd be like, oh, I got another place I'd like to go to. Good, go for it. Like, yeah. I always want you to move on to the next level. And to me, you're way better off having people say, well, the star of this Monday night show is from, or Tuesday night show is from WWE, or the guy in the movie is from, you know, like, they make good people out of it. They come, you know, they're really, you know, smart with their people. You know, they really did a really good job developing people. Because one of the things they keep forgetting is when you have those stars on your roster, you're making more money. When they're there, you do well. Now, if you just sit there and go, well, we don't want to have anybody be that big a star because what if they leave us? Okay.
It's so short-sighted. Plus, I don't understand why Randy Orton's still on television. Like, he could have left and came back a dozen times.
Well, I think one of the things we've learned, especially from Cody Rhodes, is that you're way better off leaving, reinventing yourself. Same thing with EC3 and a couple other guys.
EC3, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal.
Right. Like, leave, come back, and reinvent yourself. I think what we're seeing now is when you write stuff that is just, for the most part, boring garbage, people don't watch. And I love the fact they keep trying to play it off like, well, we're going to put Vince out there. I don't care who you have. It's like the action movie with a terrible plot. You can have all the special effects explosions you want. You know, they make dumb movies all the time. What was that came out a few months ago? The one with the, what's that gigantic tank city? It's London. It's coming to get us. Okay, so all the world cities are now like tanks roving around. And someone said, that's a great idea. Like, no, man, like, that's stupid. And what it happens is, this is what happens when you don't have enough people speaking out and going, no. And what's really interesting, I've read a lot of interviews, especially like interviewed once for the job myself, with WWE writers and what they've had to say. And how it's a difficult work environment, how you're often, you know, your ideas are like thrown to the wayside hours before the show because they're so scrambling to get ratings. When they don't realize the slow burn is the way you build. You build and build and build instead of just, well, we'll do this and make this happen, and then we'll watch. For example, right now we have the SmackDown angle with Miz and Shane as a tag team, and they're you know, and I get where they're going with this. I understand it, but no one was asking to see more Shane McMahon in the ring. No one.
You know, the best thing that ever happened to WWE is Steve Austin getting hurt because they had to slow the fuck down, and he couldn't wrestle for months, but they still put him on television. And that's what got his character over. Like, to that point where, oh my God, we need to see him. We can't wait for him to come back. He comes back. He wins the Rumble, and then eventually he wins the title. Yay!
Yep. I think what happens now is that they are so afraid to go, like when they brought Brock back to the championship. I understood why they happened because Roman had to vacate the belt. But you could have put the belt back on something. Like, I'm hoping, we can go over the matches for Royal Rumble if you want. I really think that they could have a chance to make some new directional changes. But you notice, like, if I know you don't watch Raw because you have violent diarrhea during Monday Night Raw.
Every single time.
Yep, squirts. But if you watched it, the way they cut the promo with Finn Balor as this underdog, it wasn't enough that they had the verbiage of it and the size differential in the ring. Then they had to put him in a match against Braun Strowman. And he had to beat him, but he couldn't beat him because Brock Lesnar took him out. And to me, if you're going to pitch this guy as the underdog, that's fine. But to constantly harp on all these, it's almost like a movie. They're like, there's no way he'll ever beat him. No way. Well, that guy's going to win. It's like...
And plus, if he loses, it makes him look like an asshole.
Right. And I do think... I think he's going to win the title. I just have a feeling... Because
I think it's a smart play to do. We'll go over the matches now for the 2019 Royal Rumble. This will be live from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Looking at the card right now, you have two pre-show matches. You have Rusev versus Nakamura. Nice to see the United States Championship on a pre-show match. It's awesome. Great.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, guys.
Who's the champion right now? Is it Rusev?
It's Rusev,
yeah.
Okay. The build-up for this match was very good. Shinsuke got Lana involved, and she got knocked down and hurt. So Rusev's super pissed at him right now. So it's a good rivalry.
The other pre-show match is the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. We have Buddy Murphy versus Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto, which is probably going to be a fun match.
I would say I think Rusev retains. There's a rumor out there Shinsuke is going to bolt and leave for AEW.
We're probably going. I don't know if we go to AEW. Probably end up going Match Japan.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, I would think that Murphy only loses if he's getting called up, which I could see that.
Yeah, he's been doing fantastic.
I can see them giving the belt to Itami or Tozawa or whatever, but something.
Itami probably needs a run at this point. Kenta was fantastic, and he was a mainstay of Japanese wrestling and American Indies, and due to injury and other reasons, he's not able to get over to the degree that he would otherwise. He invented the GTS thing. PM Punk took that from him. You know what I mean? So Itami's been around for quite a while. So I would love for him to win the belt here. You have the Bar, Cesaro, and Sheamus, who I can't stand Sheamus at all. Do you see any scenario here where the Miz and Shane wins the tag team championship, or is that just fucking? If they do it, it's a bad booking.
Well, there was always this talk about it's all Miz's setting up Shane to turn on him because Shane stole the glory from him.
Makes sense.
And that makes sense. I can see that, and I would actually agree with that. But this past Tuesday, if you watch the show, Miz went to extraordinary lengths to protect Shane. So unless Shane hot dogs and really does something egregious during the match where Miz is like, fuck this, and just turns on him, which is fine if you're setting up a Miz versus Shane WrestleMania match, which honestly I think is where they're going.
He's going to fall off of something. I know it.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to my point of if Shane did this once every 4 or 5 years, fine. But now he's been doing every single year, and it's I don't need to see Shane jump off another cage.
Yeah.
Dude, just... And it's... You have a limited repertoire, which annoys the shit... Dude, you grew up with this. You should have Chief J Strongbow moves. Pull out the old flying forearm, Tito Santana, random shit. You know it. You grew up with it.
He's athletic enough to pull it off, too.
And essentially have, a few punches and your Van Daminator, or Terminator they call it now, no. So I think if they win it, fine. But if they win it, you have to, I think, lean towards something where at WrestleMania, you're going to have Miz turn on him. Unless it goes a different direction altogether, and you have Shane turn on him, because he's like, I didn't sign up for this, and then, break the trophy over his head, and just make it a brutal turn where Shane ends up lining up with the Bar. Something you wouldn't expect, because I think that would be compelling. Because I always looked at that what is the most compelling thing to come out of this match? Well, Rusev beating Shinsuke is great because that seals the match, the feud. His fury's been assuaged, and he moves on. Well, I think if Miz and Shane win, what is the next step? because you have so many good tag teams in SmackDown that honestly are more deserving than they are. I think if it's a vehicle just to get the turn go over, I'll buy that. That's fine. But just make it realistic. Don't give me this like generic, he turns on him for no particular reason. That's just stupid. Unless this is a Miz thing where he's a mastermind. He's like, I set you up. I did this whole thing just to get you in position to turn on you on a big stage. I will say, because my one point I want to finish up on that is when Barry Windham turned on Lex Luger all those many years ago, one of the biggest things about the turn was it was a World Tag Championship match.
Yeah.
They were the World Tag Champions. And it was like, it didn't matter. He'd had enough. He turned on him anyways. That makes it that much bigger. So I do think if they have him win it, it's fine. But a turn's coming down the road at some point. Just who turns on who.
Right.
All right, next up.
Next up, we have Asuka taking on Becky Lynch, and this is for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Do you pull the trigger and put the belt back on Becky here? Is the question.
No, I don't. Here's what I think. Well, this is kind of spoiling. I think what's going to happen is Becky's not going to win because Rousey's going to interfere. Because I think Banks is going to beat Rousey, and I think you're going to get Rousey versus Lynch at WrestleMania without a belt on the line because it'll be just a heated moment. Just a weird feeling I have that you're going to see Becky versus Ronda without the title on the line.
Okay. I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, I know a lot of people have been speculating that Becky's going to lose and then win the Rumble to get back in the title picture again and challenge Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, that's. I think that's maybe a safe bet, but we'll see how what they do.
I'd make that bet. That sounds like a winner.
Because if you really want to put the belt on Sasha Banks, she's gonna get hurt.
Well, I'm just saying, I think if they're going to take the belt off Ronda, but I like that idea better. I think Banks is just, again, she's accident prone. But I think if you have Asuka retain, she beats Becky, that puts her over, shows her some strength. But then Becky comes back to win the Rumble for the women. There's no sweat off her back. She's still the hottest wrestler in the group. And you get that Becky-Ronda match we wanted to see.
Right.
And
that's where do we have to go, unless they're going to do a champion versus champion match.
Right. And there's all sorts of talk right now that Ronda's going to leave after WrestleMania to have a family, which is fine. I think that's probably in the works. But she got to have a couple of years as a wrestler. Try it out.
She's still in the contract. She's on the contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, she can do that. She can
leave. I mean, I believe what's reported out there. I don't know how legitimate this is. It's fucking wrestling websites, for Christ's sakes.
She loves
that there's a clause in her contract that lets her leave, take an extended period of time to do that, or either have a family or make movies, and still be under contract by WWE and come back in a later time.
The Marine 7, starring Ronda Rousey.
Well, she's doing the voice of Sonya Blade for the new Mortal Kombat game.
Oh, there you go.
Which is weird because I don't really hear Ronda talking all that much. But okay. But yeah, I see that kind of scenario, and it plays into the Ronda Rousey Sasha Banks match as well. So we'll see what happens there. And then next we have Daniel Bryan, champion, taking on AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. If given enough time, this has 5-star match potential on it because of the competitors involved in the stage that they're on for the belt.
Right.
We'll be able to have enough time. Are they going to give them 25 minutes? I don't know. We'll see. But both these guys are so fucking good. This is a smart mark, independent dream match that I've seen a dozen times already, but at this stage for this championship, the real WWE Championship, this is the belt that Hulk Hogan had and Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. Right? Yeah, this is the championship. Obviously, it's not going to be the main event. It's going to be whatever match Brock's in, right? That's the way it goes, or the Royal Rumble itself. But this has a lot of potential on it. And Daniel Bryan's character as a heel right now is strong. I know a lot of people are surprised that he's able to come across as a heel so well, but no one saw his. I guess those people didn't see Daniel Bryan's ROH title run that he had, and he was a fantastic heel in Ring of Honor. So it'll be interesting to see here. It's funny because not to get into politics, but Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles are politically opposed, on two opposite sides of the spectrum here, which doesn't necessarily play into it all that much. But there's definitely there's definitely something there. So I'm excited to see this particular match. This is probably the match of the night. And then we have Brock Lesnar, champion, taking on Finn Balor for the WWE Universal Championship. I can see Finn winning here. I can see Finn losing here.
I think he wins. I think I think he wins via interference from Braun Strowman,
right.
And that sets up Brock versus Braun at WrestleMania.
Or Braun can win the Rumble. Is he in the Rumble?
I don't know because his whole arm thing. He had a match Monday night, but
he can technically win the Rumble and then face Brock at WrestleMania. Which is, not for nothing. That's the match I would probably book for that show.
Oh, had Braun win the Rumble?
Braun versus Brock at the Rumble is the main.
Oh, right. I think Braun versus Brock without the titles works better because that way you still get a big name matchup and you don't need them on the title. You want to have options. I like to see Finn win it. Just change of pace. Everyone's so sick of Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry.
This is the start of the road to WrestleMania. We don't know who's coming back. Like, I know Kevin Owens is close to coming back. I know that Sami Zayn is close to coming back. You still got guys like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. They're around for possible challenges for Finn Balor if he wins the belt, or possible challenges for Brock Lesnar. So be on the lookout for that. And that's the thing about the Royal Rumble. It's so not necessarily wide open, but it's literally wide open.
Yeah.
They can just, okay, what matchup do we need for WrestleMania for the title? Could we see, Finn Balor and Kevin Owens, they've had fantastic matches in the past. You want to throw Dean Ambrose in there, you can. You want to throw Seth Rollins in there, you can. You want to throw Braun Strowman in there, you can. There's options here coming out of this Rumble. So I think overall, I think it's going to be a decent show. I mean, I never really have too high of expectations for anything that's WWE related at this point. But
who do you think is for Rumble? Who do you think your surprise entrants are?
I think, could we see a Jericho here?
Oh, Jericho's with AEW, so I don't know.
Yeah, but Jericho is Jericho.
Right.
And Jericho's always had the freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants, regardless. It's not. I don't think it'd be more of a case of Jericho declining. It'd be more of a, we're not gonna promote this guy that's gonna be on our competitor in a few months. But you never know. It's fucking Jericho. Chances are you're not gonna see The Rock here. That's always a long shot, but it's always a possibility. He can show up wherever he wants at this point.
I will say this. I would rather see legitimate chance to, everyone that had DDP come out or Piper and was like, they're not gonna win, or Duggan.
Yeah.
I don't want a gimmick throwback. I want I know Abyss just signed on with them, and so did one of the guys, Sanjay Dutt. They both signed on. If you want to bring one of them in, okay, that's someone different. That people aren't going to know.
I think the roster's big enough at this point. If you're going to bring in your 205 guys, bring in your NXT guys that have a 30-man Royal Rumble with bringing no one in from the outside.
I would say, yeah, unless you're going to bring somebody in who's going to play a major feud.
Unless it's Hogan in there for some weird reason. It could always Triple H. Could go. At least could go. Could see an appearance by The Undertaker here. You don't know. Although those old school guys are kind of running out. There's not a lot of guys that can still go.
Yeah.
Now, would I love to see Scott Steiner come out? Yes. I want to see Scott. I don't even want him to wrestle. Just give him a microphone and just have him go to the ring. I don't care because he's awesome. Will we see someone that's been signed that we don't know that has been signed to show up? But in terms of independent stars, it's not no one's going to make as big an impact as AJ Styles did a couple years ago. They don't exist right now. So it's now even if it's a Brian Cage, but 90% of the WWE audience don't know who Brian Cage is. You know what I mean? So it's unless it's going to be Penta or Ray Phoenix or something like that, which it could be Walter. Walter could be in the Rumble. I love Walter. I've been a Walter guy for a very long time.
Yeah.
He can show up there and do some damage. You can make the Rumble can make stars. That's what I think they've forgotten about that.
Right.
Because Kevin Nash does not get over as Diesel without the Rumble. He starts eliminating fucking 10 people.
Yep.
Then they happened to Kane. Kane started chucking dudes out, got over. So if you want to showcase someone in the Rumble, this definitely could be the place to do it. And this is the time because they need a new top star. And I think they're going to push Balor. I think he's going to be their guy. He's going to be their Roman Reigns replacement for right now. And they'll see what they can do with him. And if he doesn't, move the needle, they'll move on to somebody else. But I think they're going with him.
Yeah.
Although he's small, but he's still a guy that Vince would love. Look at him. You think Vince is not in love with him?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break. He loves him. We could see a Cena return.
Yeah.
Cena's supposedly hurt, but his hair is weirding me out, though.
Yeah, it is weird.
Cut your hair, you hippie.
It looks like he got possessed by the spirit of JBL. Like he lost a match, and JBL was like, "You may have beaten me, Cena, but I'll get my revenge." And he like shakes his head at him, and he's like, "Oh no."
Like I would personally love to see like a Jushin Liger in there for no reason, or like a Muda. Like what is Muda? I want Muda to have that one WWF match. Like I pitched like 10 years ago to have Muda versus Undertaker, because that would be fantastic. But nope, it didn't happen. It made me very, very sad. But I think overall with the Rumble is the Rumble. It's always going to be popular. People are always going to enjoy it unless Roman Reigns wins it and everyone boos. You can see a Dave Bautista come back too.
Yeah,
he's still out there. But like I said, I think there's enough people on that roster they'll easily be able to field 30 guys. Same thing with the women's roster too. I don't think you're gonna see your Alundra Blazes out there, or Leilani Kais, or Wendy Richters out there, or Trish Stratus, or.
Well, how about? Do you have any thoughts on the NXT Takeover?
It's gonna be fucking fantastic. It's fucking NXT Takeover.
Well,
they've never had a bad one.
See, I always look at it and go, okay, which guy from that show? Like I know Lars has had some problems with panic attack or something like that. So I'd love to see him show up.
Look for Ricochet randomly.
I think if Johnny Gargano beats Ricochet and Ricochet shows up the next night,
or Dream, that would Team Dream.
Yeah. I mean, he's not even on the show.
He's a star, man.
I think it's one of the nice things about the NXT show is you don't need to have everybody on the show, but you can it's a good time. I think it'll be a fun show as well. I do think if Shayna Baszler loses the belt, I think she's headed to WWE unless they save her for something else in line.
Because didn't Lacey Evans just come out?
Yeah, that was terrible.
So it's like.
Which, speaking of which, they said Alexa Bliss is
it's cleared.
Wrestle again.
It's cleared. Yay! Take it easy. You're way too good. Yeah. You're way too good to be her. I know people give her shit for her matches, but she's a star. I've been saying this for 3 years. Yeah. I was one of the original people on the Alexa Bliss bandwagon, and Carmelo for that matter as well too. I was early on those guys. So I'll be at WrestleMania this year. It's in New York. I'll be here. I'll be there. I'm not going to TakeOver. Unfortunately, they're running. I'm going to Ring of Honor at Madison Square Garden because it's fucking Ring of Honor at Madison Square Garden. Why wouldn't I go? Smart on their part to move that show to Friday, but I think I have plans Friday night that night. So I'll be in New York City for from Thursday to Sunday, taking in some of the shows. I'll be at WrestleCon. We have a table at WrestleCon, so if you're in the area, please come check us out.
If you're going to TotalCon, I'll be there, and Gen Con. So nerding out.
The one of the conventions, I'll probably end up going to Comic-Con and NYC this year, but I really want to go to Dragon Con. Like some of these conventions elsewhere have like cool people that I want to see. Like usually in New York City, you get like all the same people over and over again. Like you get the big stars there, right?
Yeah.
But there's some other people that I want to see, and they're always at these other conventions that are far away from me.
No, I can tell you, I have friends who go to Dragon Con every year.
They like it.
And they get in really crazy costumes every year, and it's a fun time according to them. So who knows? But
yeah, plus Atlanta, I think, is a city that I would enjoy.
Also this weekend, I don't know if you knew or not, but are you aware of who's making their debut at a mixed martial arts fighting?
Oh, it's Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger making his debut, claiming that he's going to be different than Brock Lesnar and CM Punk because they didn't want to get punched in the face. So who knows what's going to happen now with that guy?
I mean, he definitely has the credentials. He needs better credentials than Punk did. Probably not as good as credentials as Brock Lesnar did, but and just pure size on Lesnar is ridiculous. But he's probably not going to be on the gas either. So, but I'm curious to see what he can do because he's good representation and professional wrestling, and maybe they'll end up for him getting signed either back to the WWE or AEW, or maybe he gets to stay in MMA. Bobby Lashley did okay. He didn't do too bad. Poor Bobby Lashley, man.
Yeah, they're making the best.
He was an Impact, and he had all the belts.
Well,
I get the impression that WWE is trying to sign everyone so no one else gets them.
The problem they had there is people are figuring out that, like Bandito did, I can go to you, but you're not doing shit with the guys you have now.
Yeah, put some people over. Obviously, you're going to try to, you're going to make your overtures to Kenny Omega, right?
Let's think this way. Who is the last... All right, let me think here. Who is the last... Or name 2 or 3 in the last 5 years homegrown WWE talents. Would you say Seth Rollins, or would you say he's ROH?
Because I watched him so much in ROH, I have to say ROH.
Okay, so what I'm saying is someone who came there, is Braun Strowman the only name that comes to mind? Are there other guys you can think of that are NXT, Florida Championship Wrestling guys that came up?
Braun Strowman, I'll give you the list. Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, Elias. I think that's it. Not counting some of the girls.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys didn't do anything in Japan or the independence or anything like that. Those would be it, I think. Because obviously, Kevin Owens, Ring of Honor, and independence in general. Same thing with Sami Zayn. AJ Styles, obviously, Impact. EC3 Impact. Drew McIntyre reinvented themselves on Independence. They're going with more guys who are more seasoned than ever before, which is a good thing. I wish they did that 10 years ago, but...
Well, the reason I bring it up is that when people talk about, Kenny Omega, why would someone want to go there when they have such an obviously difficult time putting together coherent storylines, unless he just is I want a payday and I don't care about anything else?
Plus, he's been there before and they treated him like crap.
Right. And that's the thing I would go back to is that, what is it about...
when the Young Bucks went on their tryout there, they got shitted on. Why would they even go? Cody was perpetually stuck in the mid-card forever.
Yeah.
Why would he go back? You think you get a main event run? Maybe. Well, maybe he'll be, I'm going to, I'll be WWE champion, but I'll be the third match every single fucking pay-per-view. There's nothing in it for him.
Right.
He made his money in WWE. He's not hurting for money. He made money in the WWE. And he can afford not to be there. I don't know what he's making at AEW right now. I don't know what his contract says, but he's obviously enough to be essentially exclusive for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's Jericho's asking for $100,000 a match now. So it's that's what Japan was paying him. Most people in WWE are not making $1 million.
Right.
They're probably in the range, conservative, I'm going to be very conservative here, probably anywhere from $70,000 downside guarantee to probably $300,000. Everyone's probably in that range. I don't think there's a lot of people hitting over 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like WCW in the 90s where lots of people are making $500 to $950. It's not a lot of $1 million guys right there right now. I mean, I'm sure Mysterio's making good money. Obviously, your Brock Lesnar's making stupid money. Ronda Rousey's making stupid money.
Yeah.
But I can't see say Zack Ryder making a fucking ton, and Kurt Hawkins, or Jinder Mahal at this point.
Right.
Baron Corbin making. I don't see any of those guys hitting $500,000. It's not just the money. The money is part of it. Of course, the money is part of it, but it's also the freedom of being able to do what you want to do. And it's if they haven't got a booker yet for AEW. Not anyone that you would know. They don't have a Dutch Mantel or a Yates Polsky or somebody booking it. So from the looks of it, it's going to be the Young Bucks and Cody booking it, right? We don't know that, but we'll see. And I know there's a lot of people that are scared that, oh, well, Cody's going to be like Dusty, he's going to book himself on top, and he's going to win everything, and blah, 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 which I doubt he's going to do. You know, we may not even see him wrestle all that much. Maybe we'll see him a lot the first 2 years. But as it grows, as his responsibilities grows, he's not going to be able to wrestle full time. He's trying to get a company off the ground. You know, that's a lot of work. They just signed Jungle Boy, so that's good. When you build a roster, I think people, from a booking perspective, and just discount what WWE's currently doing, because they're making no sense. When you build a roster, you have to build it appropriately. You know, you got to have, you know, guys that you want to feature as your main event, and then you have your upper mid card, you have your middle mid card, you have your lower mid cards, and then you have your enhancement guys, right? So not everyone can be a star, right? You only have so much spotlight in the spotlight guys. You know, you want to keep the roster kind of fluid and always moving, so guys are going to be coming and going all the time, right? And there's a lot of people out there saying right now there's not enough talent for Impact, Ring of Honor, WWE, and AEW. That's bullshit. You know, the talent will be found, right? There's talent out there. Just now they have more opportunities now. The guys that weren't getting opportunities 3 or 4 years ago are getting opportunities now. Guys will be not re-signing with WWE. You know, there's rumors out there that AJ Styles is not going to re-sign, but I'm sure AJ's going to re-sign. So,
right.
You know, Vince loves him way too much to let him go. So, he's a Vince guy. You know, overall, I'm just curious to see how this all plays out. And I know, we talked about it before, and it's how tribalistic that fans get with professional wrestling that wasn't necessarily there before. And it sounds funny because when you say it out loud, it sounds funny. I lived through the Monday Night Wars, you know? And I think, you know, there's a new generation of fans that have not lived through that, or they weren't here with the territories, and they're not used to having more than one premier promotions or one big promotion with a lot of little ones coming up, and looks like they're going to try to compete. So there's a lot of like, fuck AEW, you know, hope they fail kind of you know, negativity there, where we should all be hoping that, you know, Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, you know, AAA, CMLL, New Japan, All Japan, we want to hope they all do good, because when wrestling's at its best is when everyone's doing well. So there's a time where WCW was doing good, and WWE was doing good, ECW was doing good, and that was a glorious time.
Right.
Right? And we haven't had Impact, formerly TNA, had some flashes, they had some opportunities, and they were squandered. You know, Ring of Honor is going with the opposite approach, like we're going to go really, really slow and build up that way. But now they're at Madison Square Garden, so look at that.
Right.
You know, you have New Japan coming into the States and trying to make a niche here in the United States. You know, they're a big company. They're not small by any stretch of the imagination. This tribalistic kind of like, oh, I'm watching AEW and fuck WWE. You should be like, I'm watching AEW and I hope WWE steps up their game.
That's my hope, is that we get to a point where, you know, this is very healthy for the competition levels. You know, it's making it to a point where, you know, they're pushing each other. People always say, well, there's only so many fans. Well, when the casual fans tune in and see shit wrestling, they don't care.
Casual fans want entertaining storylines and stars. You have neither right now.
Right. So
you need to build up your stars, and you need to get, you know, compelling storylines. I'm not talking about like, you know, Oscar-winning storylines. You watch anything throughout the Attitude Era or the '80s, they weren't Oscar-worthy, but there was enough, you know, to keep you invested. It's like professional wrestling today is not much-watched television. Now, in the past, professional wrestling has always been on the cutting edge of content delivery. Like, they were selling videotapes in like 1984, the WWF. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where a lot of even big movie studios weren't, you know, selling videotapes, you know, like that. You know, they've been, you know, really quick to transition to DVDs. They were really quick to transition to Blu-ray. You know, original syndicated programming in the 80s, and they moved to cable, you know, which is a big deal. And they transitioned out. The WWE Network, although it was probably, you know, it's later than Netflix, but it's still pretty early in the streaming service era, right? So they've always been on the cutting edge, and the problem now is that their content is sports entertainment, right? So if you separate the sports and you separate the entertainment, right?
Yep.
The way we consume entertainment would be like television shows. You know, everyone's doing what? They're binge watching now.
Yeah.
They're watching an entire season of Punisher, right? Because they got all 13 episodes already out. So you sit there and you binge watch. Professional wrestling cannot be binge watched. It's literally impossible to do. But it's not like sports either, where sports, you know, if you want to watch the Super Bowl, or you want to watch the NBA playoffs or a Major League Baseball game, you watch it, that's kind of it. You can't binge watch sports. You know, you're not going to watch, you know, the NBA finals a month later, you know, at your convenience. You have to watch it now, right? Because it's that important. See, WWE does not fall into either category at this point. Because their content is like sports, it's weekly and it's live. And once you missed it, you know, you can catch up on a Hulu, you can follow on Twitter, but you're not necessarily watching that live. But you can't watch 13 episodes of Raw to get to the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? At some point, someone's going to have to make a decision to be like, okay, we're going to shoot 13 episodes of Raw and then have a pay-per-view and release it all at once. I'm not talking about 5 years from now. I'm talking 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Where like your weekly episodic television, that's not how people watch TV anymore. There's way too much competition out there. We live in a world in society today where I can literally watch whatever I want, whenever I want. This is not the 80s or 90s where, oh my God, I have to watch 90210 on Monday nights at 9 o'clock or I'm going to miss it. So I better make sure I'm in front of the TV.
Right.
That's not how any of this works anymore. So the only thing that's kind of like still like that in terms of television is probably Game of Thrones. Because even Walking Dead is probably not as popular as it was 3 years ago.
No.
And they're probably starting to fade out. So when you have a Netflix and Amazon Prime who will give you a whole season in one chunk with the finale and everything, and I can watch that today, I can watch that, if you avoid spoilers, 3 months from now. And I'll sit there and watch it in 2 days or a week. That's how people are getting their content now. So as we're transitioning, the WWE have to make a decision on what they're going to do and how they're going to be. And I don't know what that means. I think we need less pay-per-views. Like, stop. First of all, you don't have pay-per-views anymore. You call them network specials, right? Number one. Rebrand that. Get rid of that. And stop with the shitty ones. Like, can we just call it a Saturday Night's Main Event and call it a day? For Clash of Champions? Like back in the day?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward. And having, you know, your big marquee events should always be the same. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, a Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. Everything else should be an hour or 2 hours. Say 2 hours. There should be the same fucking length as a takeover.
Yeah.
Steal from yourself. Steal from yourself. Because the takeovers are way more entertaining. There's a lot less of them, and people seem to enjoy them. They're always critically acclaimed. Steal from yourself. But, you know, whether they do that or not, who knows? But that's why we don't cover modern wrestling very often on this show, because it's like, like how many more times are you gonna say this is a problem or what the fuck is this about? I'd rather talk about 1989 SummerSlam or something. I mean, that's why we do the NWA 1984 project. Just you know, we have to cover these topics because we always got to take what happened in the past and kind of compare it to what's going on now. And we see the issues with WWE. We see McMahon's on TV way too much. It reminds me of Verne and Greg Gagne. It does.
Yeah, totally.
And I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times that Vince McMahon has turned into the thing he hates most in this world, and that's Verne Gagne. He's Verne Gagne. That show is boring. And it's like, why is Greg or Shane? I'm sorry, I get them confused now. On TV again. You know, it's ridiculous, and it needs a shake up. And I think, to me, my issues with WWE currently is very, very simple. And it's not necessarily the in-ring product, because from bell to bell, it's great. Storylines are the storylines, I guess. I mean, they're not necessarily all that compelling, but we've watched bad wrestling before. Like, we were here during New Generation. I watched WCW 2000. Like, we sat and watched bad wrestling. But I think for me, is the reason that it's hard for me to watch today is not only because there's so much other options out there. I'd much rather watch Superstars from '89 or Memphis from '83. But the production is so fucking stale. It's exactly the same that it was in 1997. Like, that has not changed. Like, can we update the show? Can we not? I'm not talking about the graphics or the HD cameras, just the way it's produced and the format of the show. Like, try something different. I hope with the Spox did with SmackDown, they try something completely different. But, you know, we will see. Like, they're in this comfort zone that they don't have to change the show. That's what I'm curious about. When and if AEW gets television, is it going to be a Raw light? Like, is it going to be like a Raw show? Is it going to be like primetime wrestling? Like, what's this show going to be like? And I wonder if it's going to be good. Or is this going to be something completely off the wall, completely different that changes the industry? We don't know. I'll probably be wrong, though, to be honest. I'll probably be like, oh, coming from the elite zone and blah, blah, blah. And it'll be sad. But I hope that's not the case, but we don't know. All right, guys, so we are officially out of time. And I promise we will talk more old school wrestling on the next episode. I promise. So for Matt Riley, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.